Hello, hello, hello. Hi, 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 hi. I'm Todd Tier. It's kind of late at night, but there was nothing going on downstairs, and I found myself thinking about elements. But I realized that I've made some videos that I've mentioned the four elements, and I don't think I ever said what they were. And to the 4 or 5 people that are watching this, you probably already know. But this was developed 400 or 500 years BC, supposedly in Egypt. Nobody, I mean, that's what they say now, but I tend to believe that there were things before that, information that came along before that we haven't either found or has been destroyed or whatever. But we can read these hieroglyphics from Egypt, and we know that we knew about those elements. And then Aristotle expanded on the meanings of them in relation to us. And realistically, everything is a reflection of everything else. We're all part of the same thing. So everything is a micro of the macro. Not to get confusing, but when you get really, really, really small, that's when it gets weird. That's quantum physics. But I'm not going to put that into this conversation right now because it just throws everything off. We're going to deal with what we can understand, see, feel. Okay, so the four elements, and these are all in astrology charts, coincidentally, is earth, fire, water, and air. Okay, earth represents groundedness. It represents stability, practicality, things like that. Usually but it also associates with beauty and pleasure to a large degree, but it's not the kind of, well, it's earthly pleasures. But fire is a different element. That's more of the catalyst or the inspiration. It is passion, it's drive, it's that kick in the ass, it's sexuality, it's a hunk of burning love. Fire. And then you got air. I'm holding some air in my hand right now, believe it or not. Air represents the mind, the way we think, intellect. More evolved air signs or people with a lot of air in their chart tend to be more, intellectual, better able to communicate ideas. I have air Gemini. My Mercury is in Gemini, so that's my communication. That's, I mean, I think it's good for me. But Taurus is my sun. Scorpio is a water sign. That's my moon. I am emotional. I can swim in my emotions, but as I've gotten older, and Scorpio also has a really dark side to it too, which I've just kind of recently started delving into and find it really interesting. I used to kind of be scared delving into the darkness, but I've realized that if you associate with the light, you are pretty much safe from anything that lurks in there. And anyway, it's in me. I mean, if I've got a Scorpio moon and it's got some darkness in there, why not go there? Why not explore it? It's part of me, right? You know? I mean, I've got a dark as hell sense of humor, so I'm sure that it comes from my moon sign. And did I say everything? Yeah, air, earth, fire, and water. I mean, they all make up different parts of our characteristics that you can pretty much categorize any part of your personality into one of those, or a mixture of one or two of those. You know, fire and water is really cool. It makes steam. It's hot. You know. There are, you know, to be balanced, you really need to be aware of those, not placements in your birth chart or anything like that. I'm trying to keep this simple. You can consider that you have those traits built into you, and that you can regulate them. You can mix them together to be a better person. Okay? You know, I'd been saying elements, and I realized that it sounded like I was talking about the table of elements, or elemental table, or whatever it is. But there's over 100 of those, and I don't know how many at this point, because they keep making more of them. But every time they make a man-made element, it gets heavier, because every element that goes up on the chart has another electron, so it increases the mass. And by the time you get up to, you know, 112, 113, I don't know how high it goes right now, but it starts to get very heavy in mass. And it's very hard to, even if deuteronium 12 or 14 exists somewhere in space, the fact that it doesn't exist here and we can somehow manufacture it doesn't mean that we're making it the exact same way that that it exists in the universe. And I'm just saying that because of that guy, Bob, whatever his name is, from Area 51, that's been talking about this stuff for 30 years. And I can't remember the element that he was talking about that they were using. This was the late 70s that he was talking about that, and I'm off the subject. But it was something deuteronium-15, which was impossible at the time. I think they have since, I may be wrong, but I think they have since come up with that element. That's what he was saying that they were using as fuel for these flying discs that they were either copying or had captured, that they were keeping in Vegas or out there in Nevada. But that really has nothing to do with what I was saying. I was just making a differentiation between the two, so that the billions of people out there taking hardcore notes on my lecture will know that I'm not talking about, when I say these four elements, I'm not talking about the table, the chart table, or whatever the hell that thing is. But there is a fifth element that goes along with the four that I was talking about. It's not something that is on any astrological charts, but it is in all actuality pretty much all encompassing, and it's the ethers. That is the realm that is invisible to us. We can't see it, but we can get glimpses. And we can go there. And there's a lot of people, including myself, that have had experiences with psychedelic agents, chemicals that will take you into the ethers. Some of them will shoot you there and parachute you back within 6 to 10 minutes. Other ones last 5 hours, and some of them last 8 hours. It depends on how far into the ethers you want to go, but you can learn a lot. I've been out there far enough to say I've seen enough, you know. I love discovery, but it's not all rainbows on the other side of this reality. And you know, if I have to slay a dragon, I will, but I'd prefer, what do they say? It's better to have a soldier in a garden than a gardener out on a battlefield. You know, I mean, you're better off equipped. Even if all you do is garden, you're better off equipped to fight than if all you know is gardening and you have to go out to battle. So that's all I'm saying. As far as the ethers go, though, you know, we've got this truth here and we've got this truth here, and then we've got that truth that overlooks everything. So, you know, the more we're in touch with that side, the other side, the more balanced we can be with our four elements that we can identify with. So whatever made me want to come and discuss this, who the hell knows? But it felt important to me at the time. And I don't think I explained it very well because, I don't know, I didn't have anything written down, and I'm like kind of spaced out. But I'm doing it anyway, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I don't think I have anything else that I can think of. Stop it. But if you have any questions, you've got to go to some website and then click on a link and then go on to a different link, and then there'll be some little thing on the left hand corner where you can click for a chat, and then you can click on that and wait up to, I think, 24 hours until somebody answers. But yeah, you know, the answers are there and you can get them. So we're all capable of that. I just wanted to give anybody that didn't know what those elements entailed an idea of what you're working with. You are working with earth, fire, water, and wind. Water is emotions, by the way, if I didn't say that. Emotions are very watery. You can swim in them. You can drown in them, actually. You don't want to do that, though. That's where the air comes in. Your brain, your heart. Your heart, that's where all that water is. Your brain is where all the air is. So there's a balance that you've got to somehow come to terms with without going nuts. And the fire will kick everything in. And the earth is what keeps us down grounded. And if we don't have any earth in our chart, we may float away, especially if you're completely air sign. Then there's nothing grounding you. Actually, that's not true. Forget about astrology charts. We've all got all four elements in us. Okay? But it is interesting to look at your chart, because if you get to know it, look at it, it's kind of mind-blowing. All of this stuff I was always kind of a skeptic until, I don't know, probably starting about, 7 years ago, 8 years ago. But the more that I learn, the more pertinent I think this stuff is. So anyway, that's it. I hope somebody got something out of it. It gives me something to do right now because I was bored. And you guys have a good night. I love you.